I won't be afraid to admit that as of right now, gacha games are not it for me right now. Like, I've kind of just fallen off from that. All of them, like, obviously I played Genshin before, Honkai Star Rail, ZZZ, and I played Wuthering Waves. I played all those games, and I just fallen out of love with playing them. But it has come to my attention that earlier today, there was a Genshin broadcast, and I thought nothing of it because I had to go to work. So I've been out of the loop, and recently I did come back for like a little bit, only really because of one character who was Varka. And Varka, he's fun for me. I really don't care about power level because that doesn't make the game fun to me. Like, of course, I want my character to be strong, but as long as I'm having fun, that's really the end goal. And end all be all. For me, at least, that's the end goal. But I sat through and watched the broadcast because there was one particular moment that I really wanted to get to. So I'm watching, and the next like upcoming update, I don't really care about the new character. I don't care about the new stuff that's coming, because at the end of the day, Genshin has been really struggling. To like really keep a good portion of the players, especially players like me, keep them entertained, right? The gacha phase is over. If you're into gacha still, then good for you, right? This is what you want to do. This is what you want to play. I'm not gonna knock you for that. But a lot of people stop playing the game for like at least a good minute because there's really nothing to benefit from something like Genshin. And Genshin really doesn't try to maintain that capture. It just tries to just keep on moving on. So all the other stuff, it looked pretty much the same. Lack of events, lack of primo gems, all that kind of stuff. But I want to touch home about one particular moment. And that is when we go to the next region, Snezhnaya. Now, my friends being Director Moon and Inky, not she, because it's pretty much all of us, but we've all been saying that when it came all the way up from Mondstadt to not Natlan to Fontaine for us, that was when the game was really, really, really good and really fun. Once Natlan hit, the game fell off. Well, not fell off, but the game didn't feel as impactful and as good as it once was. Mostly due to power creep of, something like Marvel Weka, but also the fact of the lack of representation. I mean, Natlan was based off of fucking Africa, and, we get a white Archon. But us going off of a tangent, and I'm going off topic from that. After that moment of Natlan, the game hasn't been the same to us. So we've been on and off. Really only one has been continuously on, not continuously, but more consistently. But other than it, even then, she doesn't really, is that big of a fan of it. Noggrad came around, and it was pretty much the same thing. It was kind of even worse because then you have a story that got longer, and if you haven't been paying attention, or simply if you just don't care about the story, you're just gonna be sitting there for fucking days on end. So now we get to Snezhnaya, and this was a chance for Genshin, for at least people like me, to come back in, check out the new region, come back in, and get back in and have a good time. But the issue is that it doesn't look like it's going to do that. And in fact, with what's coming, I'm not going to say it's going to be bad, but I might as well just stay off of Genshin for basically the entirety of its lifespan. And the reason why I'm saying that is because in the trailer, you will see that the Traveler uses a gun. Like he flats out to start using a gun, and he starts, it basically looks like a little like a third person shooter. So it's a shooter game now. But this has been an issue for Genshin for a minute, and I just feel like I don't have to talk about it, but I really want to talk about it. Genshin does not know what it wants to do anymore. It kind of wants to do a good mix of everything, and then at the core do too little, right? So what do I mean by that is Genshin wants to do and touch upon every single thing that they can. And even the story got even more convoluted because now we're going to the fucking moon. Like, we touched on the moon and Nod cried, but now we're going through the fucking moon. Like the story is getting convoluted as fuck. It is. So there's a lot to unpack, especially if you're trying to become a newcomer to Genshin, which, if I'm gonna be honest, if you're gonna be a newcomer after Natland now, I'm gonna be honest, there's no point. There's really no point. Because there's too much power creep. You can't get the new characters. It's just too much for you. And there's no skip button. I can't speak. There's no skip button, which means you can't progress through the earlier parts of the game and try to catch up at the same time. It's unfeasible. It's unfeasible. It really is. So I genuinely think that Genshin has lost the plot, because now we're just doing whatever the fuck we want, but at the core, the game is still the same shit as it always was. Genshin story isn't really that appealing anymore, because again, it's so convoluted and it got so massive and confusing at the same time, to where it's like, there's no point to really try to understand and enjoy the story that there once was. And then on top of that, you have all these different characters who kind of play similarly, or they just gave them a new gimmick. Now you have to get the new character to get and try the new gimmick, and it's rinse and repeat with Genshin Impact. And I'm gonna just be straight up honest, if that's the route that we're gonna go, that shit is just not gonna be for me, right? I'm not saying that you can't play the game. I'm not saying that you can't try to enjoy the update, but let's be for real here. Genshin has lost the fucking plot. The Genshin has officially lost the plot. We're just doing a whole bunch of shit that we don't need to do. We could be trying to improve the game that we already have and try to touch upon stuff that we have, rather than trying to add in new stuff that isn't even in our field. Like, why did we start adding shooting a part of the main story? Like, why? What was the point? I guess you can always say that it's for innovation or it's creativity for the story, but I'm gonna just be honest, I don't see that. I don't see why it would be that appealing to you, right? Like, let's look at WoW, for example, right? Obviously, WoW was still early in the story, but at first, the WoW story wasn't even all that appealing. But then we get to the we get to the second region of Renacita, and then the story starts to pick up. Now there's actually a story to build upon and then actually pay attention to. And then we get to Lahal Roy, and now there's even more of a story to build upon, right? And with that being said, it also knows how to stay in its own lane. It doesn't do too much, but it's also being creative and innovative for what it's trying to do. And Genshin isn't doing that. Genshin is just straight up just doing whatever the fuck it wants, and it just keeps on adding shit that doesn't help some of the old players catch back up, or it doesn't help the old players even want to try to get to the new content. It doesn't help the new players, because if they started if they stopped at some point very early on in the beginning, they're kind of fucked, because they can't get the new characters, they can't do any of that shit, right? And then the only people that it appeals is obviously the people who only play gacha games to play gacha games and who like to pretty much spend their money. And not a lot of people want to do that anymore. Like genuinely, I could keep blabbling on and like going back and forth, but we've lost the plot. We genuinely just lost the plot. But that's really all I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to yap about that. I wanted to yap about that real quick because my friend sent the clip of them shooting guns. I thought it was fake. I thought it was like a fan made trailer, until I realized that it was a broadcast. Went through it and it was there. Now here's my quick reaction of it. And with that being said, I'm out of here. See you later, YouTube. I'm not looking forward to any of this shit. Well, this is NeoSlayer, so this is the new region.
Trust have we lost to this plan already? How's that for a numbers game?
Mora isn't water. Sometimes it can flow in unnatural directions.
Where am I?
You're fucking lying. You're actually lying.
Gotta get back to Paimon.
We have actually lost the plot. Yo, son. No, we lost the fucking plot.
Silence! Your Majesty, today's outcome as expected.
A tomb, an arch
No way.
the Tsar's final tokens of affection. That which I set in motion, I shall see to an end.
There's actually no fucking way they did that shit. Oh, hell no. No, we've actually lost the fucking plot. Alright, dude, whatever.